So welcome to Korea Talk, episode 14. We're gonna do like 5-10 minutes on the Korean promotion, and then jump into our thoughts on and predictions for the group stage. So who wants to begin with talking about Flaw, which is the really only exciting thing from the promotions, was to see Spenu actually have a jungler that does stuff and gets them going.
Yeah, that was it. I was mostly like disturbed how bad I am actually played.
Yeah, that was a concern of mine. I was also concerned at why the number 9 LCK team has to play the number 1 Korean Challenger team and the number 2. Like, what was the incentive being the number 1 Korean Challenger team? Like, you get to play a theoretically harder team. Like, that was weird.
What's the point of being a Korean challenger team is the better question.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, that's a valid point. But maybe if you can get a Chinese streaming site to sponsor you, and then you can get some good players, then maybe you too can be, a future world's representative.
Or if you could, what's going to happen is if you get good enough in the Korean Challenger League, you're going to be picked up to be on the sister team or a B team for someone, and you're never going to see the light of day or have your name be known. So either that, or then you can quit and create Najin 3.
Yeah.
So.
No, this time you'd have to steal players from another team. So you'd have to steal a bunch of KT players or Jin Air. That's the team you want to start stealing players from. That's ripe, innit?
We don't know all the backups they have and how many extra people they have in their team houses playing with them. So
that's true. But Jin Air, I think that's where the real money lies. I mean, think about it. You could get Chaser. You could get GBM.
I thought he was going to China.
You could get. He's going to Chinese money. It doesn't matter where the Chinese
of course,
coming from. And you could get Pilot and Che. You basically use Jin Air with fucking nothing.
Just not Trace.
Yeah, just leave Trace. Like, why would you want
to just let him go. Put him out to pasture and pick up Flame.
And then you take Jin Air's former sub-top laner, now the top laner for LSPL Team 214 for Danmu Gaming, Sky, who was the previous top laner for ZX Storm, and then you've got a decent team.
I don't think you have to go that far. Just pick anyone.
Well, if you're going with Chinese money, you can just pick up Flame. Or Save. Many fucking top laners.
I want to pick up good players, so sorry.
Save?
Sorry, Flame. Oh, okay, yeah, Save.
Did you just... Wow. Okay.
I don't think Flame is very good these days.
I'm not going there.
Wow, you need to see his games. He did pretty well.
In which one?
He's just... pretty much everyone he played in this. All the ones he got to play in.
I saw loads of games where he played shit. His Hecarim is really bad.
His Gnar is phenomenal.
Hecarim is not even, pretty irrelevant anymore.
So. Okay, well, we're not talking about Flame. So is there anything else to talk about besides Spenu actually found a jungler that's not Catch and clearly was not a huge detriment to the team? I don't think Spenu's going to be amazing, but I think they're definitely at least found a talent that is a net positive for the team.
It will definitely help them having actually a jungler, and I am Frozen seriously has to get out of the team before he just dies with the team, because God, it's just so bad to see him play with that team. It's I'm doing stuff, but this team's not. I really, for a second, actually, after game 2, thought they were going to lose because they were throwing game 3 so bad.
I think IM needs a new top laner. Expression has not adapted to the meta, and he just seems to play...
Did you just insult Expression on Korea Talk?
Yes.
He's a part of Korean royalty here. You can't just go around insulting people like that.
He was a royalty 2 years ago, man.
Stop being royalty. That's not the way royalty works.
He was great 2 years ago, and he has not changed his champion pool from 2 years ago.
Players were not allowed to insult the show. Lilac, Expression.
We insult Lilac all the time.
Captain Jack.
Ayo.
Ambition.
Don't talk about Ambition, man. Dude,
Mad Life.
Even when he was a god.
McNoon. Song. There are loads of them. We're not allowed to insult
them. McNoon and Song aren't even relevant anymore, so...
Hoon.
Hoon's good. No, you can't just BM Hoon.
If you play...
He has brought so much talent in. the teams he brought, like he was with, surrounded, he may not be the greatest, but he knew where to find good players and then have them abandon him after one season.
he knew where to find a good players in solo queue, and then like sort of. But no, you can't just go around. Like, if you played in the original season of Champions, you're not really untouchable anymore. That's it. You're like you're like one of the founding fathers of career. It's like an American saying that George Washington wasn't that good of a president. How dare you?
He didn't do anything. That's why he was the greatest president.
How fucking dare you?
Oh my god.
Okay, so anything else about American history?
Oh god. No.
That's another good one, chat. By the way, Mid King. Not allowed to insult Mid King, even if he can't get it. Even if his like team is like barely good enough to get it, be a Korean challenger, still not allowed to insult Mid King. He plays under a new name now, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he play under Mid King King?
No. Wait, one second. Let me look up his new name.
Because Mid King was already taken.
Let me look it up. He plays with a ridiculous name now. Here we are.
Okay, well, as you get to that, is there anything else? I mean, I expected IM to do better, but again, IM is the team that perpetually disappoints.
Yeah, Spino actually played best. Like, they 3-1, but they only drew that one game, so... Yeah. It was real.
I also don't think either team was...
No. I didn't expect
fully
it. I mean,
usable.
Dark Wolves was apparently full of Master Chief players. Like, none of them even is Challenger. But they're a Challenger team, I guess. But yeah, if you... Nothing to compete with.
Well, as we learned this week, it's actually really difficult to get Challenger in Korea, or even Diamond 1, apparently. And that is not a requirement to be a pro player. So I think the fact that they're Masters shows a lot about their individual skill. And I think we've all got a really bright future, mate.
Yeah, Challenger teams
we'll get
have
to
a
that
really
later.
bright future in Korea.
We'll get to that later. That's a very fun topic.
Apparently it's Hayakon, his name.
So,
write it down.
Do you want to get into Group A?
Yeah.
Okay, so Group A is made up of CLG, Ku Tigers, Flash Wolves, and Pain Gaming. So we have NA, Taiwan, or LMS, Taiwan, Korea, and Brazil.
2 as well. And Brazil is into a wild card.
Yep, it has NA1, Taiwan 2,
Korea
2, and International Wild Card.
Which means
Potato.
Number 15. Just team number 15.
So, there was a moment when they were drawing this group, and I was like everyone who remembers like the great bit when they picked CLG, and then like the first team they picked is like Yoey Flash. So it's a fucking fix! It's a fix! Rigged! Like everyone just like Twitter was going mental, like rigged!
Oh yeah.
IGGED or whatever. Yeah, RIGGED, rigged. Because it was so like if Lolly Sports is rigged at all, like that was the proof right there.
If it's rigged, it's only rigged for NA number 1 seed, like TSM.
But
sorry,
it's too hard to rig for the number 2 seed. That's a problem.
Like I'll give you an analogy. Yeah, like in Europe we have this thing called Eurovision, and every year in Eurovision, Scandinavian countries always vote for each other.
Yeah,
like,
they do that.
Rank like number 1 every time. They don't even care that they don't even care that you call them out. They just do that every time. And every time the voting comes around, it's like Sweden 12 points. Like and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm crying! Like, I'm not even bothered what you think." Like that's how it was. And I was like, "You're not even bothered." Like I imagine, like that's almost proof for me that it's not rigged. Because if it was rigged, no one would have the balls to do that. Like number 1, Joey Flashwell, boom. Like can't write that shit.
I was actually excited about Group A when they had the 3.
Yeah.
When they were going into Seed 3,
Origin.
I was like praying they. Who was it? Was it Rapids? No, it was Cool. Cool picks, OG. And I was like, they could get out of group here, and they would not have to suffer for the fact they didn't exist in spring season. And nope, Pain Gaming, and is like, well, this group's garbage.
Yeah.
Well, on the other side, it's actually because it is Spain, and they can now kind of prove that Brazil is not that bad. If it was. I already keep forgetting. Back
it was BKT.
Yeah.
So you've got multiple like dialogues like going into this group. You've got sort of like Yoey Flash Wolves like trying to prove that LMS is actually a credible region that's actually capable of like the current narrative right now is that it's like Korea, it's like China, Korea, Europe, and then like Taiwan and then NA. But so if the
top Taiwan like
Yeah.
Top
So
Taiwan.
if top Taiwan, so if the number 2 Taiwanese team can't beat the number 1 American team, then sorry, North American team, then can fans can people haters of NA or fans of LMS, whichever one you may be, I am both, really claim that number 1 CLG is America is North America isn't actually that good of a region. Can they really claim that if Yoey Flash Wolves can't give CLG a serious challenge to getting out of this group? Because this year has been like a continuous kind of hype train for certain LMS teams, based off strong. But I say strong, I mean all AHQ did really was they beat TSM and then they beat Fnatic at MSI and they got the fucking head caved in by EDG. That was like you watched that series. That I know like 20
It
people.
wasn't close.
I know 20 people in the West watched that series. Like everyone was like, watch the Fnatic versus SKT games, cummed everywhere, and then didn't have time to all the energy to watch that series. But that series was not close. Like it was fucking head caving in. But we've been fed this LMS teams are great, they're strong, they've got good players, blah blah blah. A lot of these things are true, but this is Yoey Flashball's time to shine, kind of thing. And you've got to remember, this is not the team's first time at Worlds as well. The majority of this team was the Gamma Bears in Season 3, the team that crashed out after drawing SKT, the Nightmare draw, in the quarterfinals and got fucking wrecked. It became basically a meme with people saying they were going to pick Sejuani and Volibear every game.
Everyone kept posting the pictures of Kakao picking SKTS, and you see Marin's face of just utter disappointment. That was Gamma Bear. That was all 5 Gamma Bears players just
yeah.
Oh,
so this is their chance to actually prove that, prove that Season 3 they actually deserve to go, because if you follow LMS, it was actually a big controversy that the Gamma Bears made it in Season 3.
Oh yeah.
Because they beat the Taipei Assassins, even though the whole season Taipei Assassins had been the clear number 1. Was it the Taipei Assassins? Maybe I'm not sure. I don't know.
It was. They only got 1 seed. They only got 1 seed, I believe.
Yeah, and they kind of had a bit of a miracle.
And they had a regional instead of whoever won the last thing or circuit points. They had circuit points from both the spring and the summer that led into a regional ridiculously stupid gauntlet of double elimination. It was really crazy to try and follow, and Gamma Bears kind of lucked the shit out and got in through it.
Apparently it was type A snipers, not the assassins.
Oh yeah, the snipers. Yeah, because snipers had they were the same team.
Yeah, they kind of swapped it.
Either way, Gamma Bears in Season 2 had a bit of a miracle run. So for them to then make it to the Worlds, even though their own region is booing them, and then get bombed out so easily. Bearing in mind that Taiwan won Season 2.
Yeah, that's the main point.
So fans were super angry about it, especially since all these all the Gamma Bears players at the time, now that Yoey Flash Wolves, particularly Stake, talked a lot of shit going into that. We're going to wreck everyone easily. So this is for a lot of Yoey Flash Wolves players their redemption, because the last time they played internationally was IEM Worlds, where they took a game off TSM, and they got out of the groups because they beat SK. So they've done stuff before in the past. So this is their kind of time to shine. You beat CLG. Okay, I will get into Coup Tigers later. But you beat CLG, you get out of groups. That's it. Who can talk shit about LMS anymore? Can North American fans really talk shit about LMS anymore? No.
Nope, not at all.
So.
Do you want to go into matchups that you find interesting, or just do groups?
I kind of want to just.
Predictions?
No, not prediction, but just the overall statement of Group A. We have also realized Hui is now jungling for CLG, so it's not top CLG, and it's not only for Joey Flash Wolves, but also for the international wildcard team for Pain. Brazil has gotten a lot of hype this year, way too much, but
this is the thing as well.
They have to prove it right now as well. It's a great group for teams to prove themselves. I mean, the low regions.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of for the Western fan, this is the team. This is so Brazil got a lot of hype this year. LMS got a lot of hype this year. Korea's been talked a lot of shit about this year, and CLG fucking shit ton of hype this year because
I don't know why.
For me, the Yoey Flash
memes, Golden Age.
For me, the Yoey Flash Wolves versus CLG is actually one of the more interesting matchups at the World Championships. Not because it's SKT versus LGD or something like that, in the sense that these teams are just going to go fucking off at each other and it's going to be the most explosive level ever. No, because of how these teams match up man for man. So you think you've got Stake in the top lane versus Zion Spartan, which is like really one-sided in the face of CLG because Stake really shouldn't be a pro player. Like,
No.
I don't know if you're watching here, mate. You look a bit like Scara, chubby monkey. You surely shouldn't be pro player because you're not that good. And then you've got like number 2, you've got like Carcer, who, by the way, I'm a big fucking like I fucking fuck with Carcer, like my boy.
He's a really good jungler.
Yeah, like he's like Wins was last year, in the sense of like he's a strong jungler coming out of a region that we don't know fuck all about. So no Western fan will have heard of Carcer and be like, who the fuck's this Carcer guy? Do you mean Kira from Death Note? No, you idiot. Versus like Huhi or Xmithy. We'll see how that visa situation works out. Likely Huhi, who's like role swapped. I mean, Xmithy's kind of role swapped into jungle as well. Then he role swapped out of jungle. I don't know. It's complicated for him.
Roll swapped into jungler, roll swapped to AD carry for Zuna, and then roll swap back.
Yeah, but so like, but then like the other thing as well is like Maple is like the best mid laner in Taiwan and is a really strong assassin player. And he's versus Pobelter, who's somebody who's a bit notorious for like not showing up in a like, not that he's not sure, but it's just his inconsistency. You know what I mean? Like like Pobelter's inconsistency, whereas Maple is the primary carrier of his team. So if Maple wasn't as consistent as Pobelter was,
I think
Joey Festivals wouldn't be a world.
Pobelter's pretty consistent. He just not like consistently puts up big enough performance to carry. But
his consistency, I think he's consistent and he's pretty good. And every so often he'll have like a spike that he can really carry. But he's not your primary carry, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a problem. They are a Notch-based team in their levels. You know, they want to have top lane AD carry too well. As long as Pobelter just does his stuff, it's fine. Like, you know, he just played Victor in the finals and just did his job. You know, that's all you have to do.
I think the CLG versus Flash Wolves is going to be decided by the top of the map.
Yeah.
I think if Zion can body bag Stake, then it helps. I mean, Stake just needs to be able to not let the bleeding go anywhere else. He's going to lose lane, but if you can just only lose lane, it'll be much better. And then you have CLG who's got to protect the shit out of Huhi or Xmithy, whichever one it is.
No, Xmithy's not.
Because Karsa is going to eat is going to eat that person alive. And then you have Pobelter needs to protect, and Zion need to focus on protecting their jungler while also trying to win. And I don't think I don't think there's gonna be too much of a difference bottom lane. Flash Wolves don't really have a great AD carry, which
the AD carry is terrible. I would like to say
Kramer or NL
terrible.
Or Kramer. I don't think either one is that great, but I do think Sword Art is going to be strong enough to prevent CLG from like destroying lane and taking over from there. I think CLG really needs to focus on getting Zion going and having Pobelter be able to push the lane and keep Maple in lane.
I'm not sure how well Flash Wolves handles lane swaps, because that's something that CLG always likes to do. Not lane swapping, just for fast turret pushing to get that gold leads.
Yeah, we'll definitely see a nice.
So if Flash Wolves not prepared that well for that, they could just snowball at the early game, and then it doesn't really matter how the lane matchups go. Because CLG can get the advantage. I mean, they sometimes often like in mid game and fuck up where they did well in the early game, but they focus a lot on that lane swapping, fast turret pushing style with Jinx and Tristana. So.
But yeah, I actually think this is one of the more kind of interesting matchups. I mean, I know we should really be focusing on how the Korean teams go, but this is one that's like piques my curiosity because I just don't have any idea about how this game's actually going to play out until I see it, and I think this is one of those ones where it's really could go either way, you know. Like, I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd say CLG, because I think that. But you know what? Flash Wolves are dangerous. They're dangerous in the sense of they can fuck up CLG's day if if CLG focus too hard on prepping for the Ku Tigers or something like that. Like, you can get your day fucked up, and then you've got Pain, who are the wild card in the sense of
you also can't underestimate them.
Yeah, you lose a game to Pain, that's it. Your group's done. You're done. That's it. You don't lose games to wildcard teams and get out of groups. Elements have taught us that. Bye bye. There's the
only
train.
chance you do is if Pain beats Flash Wolves and CLG. Yeah. There's a fucking chance.
But then
they
could go. Sort of.
Yeah, it could be a 3-way tie then, because I don't see Ku dropping a game.
No, I'll be honest. I don't think Pain are going to get out of this group, but I do think that they're going to go in with a lot to prove, and they're not the kind of team who's going to be demoralized by losing games. So it's not like CLG, where in the sense if they lose 2 games, they'll probably check out and they'll be done. it's a sense of like if they lose 2 games, they don't give a shit. They're going to take you on in the 3rd game. They're going to take you on in the 4th game, kind of thing.
They'll learn from the
I think
losses
Pain can be
more
the
than anything
biggest spoiler of basically the
group
entire
stage.
all the groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are befitting of the name wildcard in the sense of if you lose a game to them, you are fucked. Like bye bye. There's your nail. There's your coffin. Off you go, mate.
I mean, yeah. Talk about the Korean team in the group. Ku is too smart, and that group is too easy for them to drop games, even if they get behind early game. They know how to deal with that. Always.
If you think about like CLG's, how CLG wins, it's Zion gets ahead and Pullbelter is able to provide support and damage for the side lanes. You're not gonna get Zion. You're not gonna beat Smeb, and I don't think Prey and Gorilla are gonna lose to Double and Afro.
No.
I think those are the two side lanes are the ones to really watch for Ku versus CLG, and I don't think Prey and Gorilla are gonna lose significantly or lose to Afro Double, and I don't see Zion really doing much versus Smeb.
No, I mean we spoke about it on this show. You know, like Ku Tigers are the ultimate team to beat, ultimate Korean team to beat Western teams, and probably the worst matchup against Chinese teams. And they don't have a Chinese team in the group, and all they've got is like Western team. Well, and Yowie Flash Wolves. I mean, I still think of LMS as like a Western region, even though it's in the East, just because of its power level and stuff like that. But to beat non-Chinese teams,
yeah, how do they play? Because I really don't watch much LMS today.
So in the brief bit of LMS I've watched, they play. It's sort of it's a mixture of like so there's a bit of tactics going there in the sense of like some of the players' vision controls work good, like particularly Sword Art, and they play a sort of. It's not really about the team fighting as much as it is about kind of like your ability to kind of get ahead in the laning phase and then try and sort of snowball that to victory. So some teams like the Yowie Flash Wolves and AHQ have quite strong kind of snowballing prowess, but their ability to kind of come behind. So you see a lot of kind of like one-sided games between top LMS teams is what I would say. Like when I watched Taipei Assassins versus Hong Kong Esports, like those 2 teams, like either Taipei Assassins won the first 20 minutes or Hong Kong Esports won the first 20 minutes. There was no, like, you know, big kind of comeback game. But then at the same time, like when I watched Hong Kong Esports versus AHQ, even though that was a 3-0 in the favor of AHQ, it was actually a relatively close series considering it was a 3-0 because there were moments where Hong Kong Esports managed to turn it around through superior team fighting, but then AHQ were like too far ahead and would kind of split push their way to victory.
Yeah, I thought Hong Kong Esports would be the second team out of Taiwan after I watched the finals. Well, I think I watched the last week or 2, and then the finals and the regionals. That was a pretty close 3-0, and holy crap, were some of those matches decided by like a millimeter of what was his Westdoor's Diana like instantaneously blew someone up before the team fight began from a flank, and it was like, well, that sucks.
It's almost like Taiwan's kind of Europe light in the sense of like it's really mid lane focused as like a region. You know, you don't the 3 top Taiwanese teams all have a superstar carry mid laner: Toys, Westdoor, Maple. None of them have like a Kuro or like a sort of supportive guy who's there to kind of facilitate the rest of the map and move around and that kind of thing. They're all there to play an assassin and start bodying people. Well, like in the case of Toys, he more plays control mages and starts bodying people, but like. That's what's interesting as well is the fact that CLG are a side lane focused team, Ku Tigers are a side lane focused team, and yet the Flash Wolves are a mid lane focused team, 100%.
I honestly believe right now in this meta it is better to be a side lane focused team just because how strong top lane is, and you need your AD carry to be able to kill the top laners as well. Cause but yeah, I guess they're a bit behind because like even AU transferred mostly to top lane. I mean, the best European teams all have good top laners right now at Worlds.
But there's nothing wrong with being behind if what you do is you do well. You know, like it's better to do like a flawed strategy well than to do a perfect strategy badly. Like it's the same. It's the same idea as it's better to make a bad call and everyone follow it than to make a good call and no one follow it. Like
I get it.
It's not always the best to just copy whatever Korea does if that doesn't play into how you.
I'm more going to say
your
that
team should be playing.
I'm more going to say that at their own type of style right now, not Western or Eastern. They're like almost.
And the best team in the world, SKT? I don't say they're a side lane focused team. I'd say SKT is a mid lane focused team. Really, like.
Really hard to not be a mid lane focused team.
They have the best mid lane, yeah. But they're actually a solo lane focused team. They don't go full because they just ignore their bot lane. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And they still pressure Martin enough so he can do whatever.
Yeah. So to talk about this as well, like the Coup Tigers versus CLG as well is an interesting matchup because I think a CLG is like Coup Tigers light in the sense of the carries are in the same place, they place focus priority on the same people, but Coup Tigers are just undoubtedly a better team. You know, like
smarter. Their execution is so much better in everything. Like team fighting, the strategy they play.
Like Coup Tigers might be the smartest team in the world for how they play League of Legends, and like like when you compare them to some teams and like the sheer lack of talent they have and how they manage to close out a game. Like we've said it before, that series where they played against CJ Entus, and it was like they need to do this right now, otherwise they'll lose, and they did it right then in that exact moment. They always make the exact right call. It's just that sometimes they get stomped in lane, so they can't make the right call anymore.
What do you want to say, Pinata? Because I know your facial expression. Is these that much? They also have better players.
You don't lose 2 games to QG by being a smart team. Not when you've got so much talent over them.
Well, that was a whole terror. If we're gonna talk about that bad final, let's talk about the CLG bad final. Their final was like they may be cool light, but that's a very light because they let TSM back in almost every time.
In the same way that like X Smithy at Season 3 Worlds was dandy light. Like that's what I mean. Like you know, I mean like
okay,
yeah. I mean, just because something light doesn't mean that you don't want the full-fledged version. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I don't know if you guys have, before we go into predictions, one of the interesting things I have about Group A2 is that it is the battle of supports. That it has 3 pretty good supports. I don't know how well Pain support is, but
can't say.
You have Gorilla, Afro, and Sword Art, and they're all
those are pretty much the best
pretty important players for their team.
So what I would say is that I don't really know anything about Brazil, and I'm not going to pretend to, because you know what I find fun is talking shit about Brazil. But I am sort of friends with Payne's analyst and RNG lol. And I remember on the Summoning Insight where Chacarez was on, who's another like Brazilian analyst. I know, right? I'm not jumping big, or was. I mean, he's Portuguese, so he's like practically Brazilian anyway. He was saying that, what's his name? The French guy who plays for Pain in support is Dude. That's it, Dude.
Dude, yes.
Is like is probably the best support player in Brazil. So whatever the fuck the best support player in Brazil beats, he is it. Like, you know, so that's good. So I mean, it's funny that
he is French.
Yeah, the best support player, like in the sense that Hooney's the best top laner in Europe. He's not actually European. I mean, you know, he's obviously Korean, but he can be the best in something and not be from the region.
Yeah, he's the best support from the region. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best support in the Brazilian CB LOL. I think that's the name.
Yeah, that's the name. That's the name.
CB LOL. So yeah, so it is in a sense the battle of like the 4 support players, and then even from what I gather about Pain, they're kind of like their top laners. Like I don't even. Well, actually, I'm not going to pretend I know anything about Pain.
I have no fucking idea. I've seen them play the international wild card. I looked at a couple games.
I didn't watch that.
Pretty good.
Watch that, mate. I've got better things to do in my life than watch fucking international wildcard matches.
Oh, I had it up on I think it was Kelsey did a link for like, oh, if you can't watch both games, watch them at the same time. Oh my god, that's the greatest thing ever. I can put up 2 Twitch screens and ignore like the 15 minutes of the game that's really boring, and then just like, oh, I can watch something else and then do this.
God bless multi-Twitch.
Yeah. So, want to move on to predictions, or do you guys have a couple more thoughts about Group A?
No. It's going to be actually one of the more... I think every game is going to be pretty good, except...
It'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, at least interesting.
Because every game really counts.
I mean, for sure.
We all agree Pain can take a game off of... really take a game off of someone outside Korea.
I'm not saying, like, you know, like, if you said CRG are going to play Pain gaming, I'd be like, CRG are going to win 100%. I'd put money on that. I would never put money on Pain winning. But what I would say is that if you, like, fuck up your draft phase... Or if you know, like, well, basically, if you fuck up your draft phase and you, like, take the game as granted, like Elements did last year, you're going to lose, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a case of, like, this team's so bad that you could pick Fizz into Morgana and still win. Like, you're still gonna lose. Like,
I still want to kill.
Not only that, but like Pain, like this year, when you talk about them in the context of the Brazilian region, are better than Kaboom was last year. When you talk about them in the context of the region,
much
now
better.
I'd like to remind everyone that Kaboom got shit on in like every single game they played, except for that game where they won them. Like Ku got shit on so badly by Najim White Shield that like Gorilla bought a blue pot at Thresh in like 15 minutes and just started running around killing everything. Like it was like some kind of fucking murderer, and like it was like Jason with his hockey mask in one of his horror movies. Like you're dead, and you're dead, and you're dead. Like who buys a blue pot on Thresh? Apparently Gorilla does, but he's that confident in his ability to fucking wreck you. Like, but what I will say is that like unless you know if you watch COG or you wear flash balls. I know because I know you're watching this show because you all watch this show. Then like do not underestimate Pain because they could do it. You know they could take that game off you, and then it doesn't matter that you've drawn 1-1 with the other team. You're out of the groups. Bye bye. You're done.
Yeah, same thing happened to Alliance last year. It'll be pretty interesting, but I think we're all in agreement. Ku, number one.
Clear. I feel like I'm in a minority when I say Ku will beat CLG. Hell, Xmithy isn't even showing this time.
I think he messed up the teams there.
It says Zelda Master 52. Right. So obviously, I believe that Ku Tiger is going to fucking wreck CLG. Like Prey's going to slice open Double F's skull, pull out his brain, stick it on the end of a stick, and mop his floor with it.
His skull.
Slice. No, you said his brain.
His brain.
Cut it open and take the brain.
I mean, it's going to take him a long time to mop that floor, but he's still going to fucking do it.
I think it would take a long time to find it.
Wow.
I mean, NA is notorious for rocket jumping into team fights.
Let's be fair, actually, he does that quite well, rocket jumping.
Like, I mean, this is the matchup between them. Like, this is the nightmare for CLG. Like, this is the nightmare of a Korean team for them to beat. Like, this is the one where you can't rely on like a certain lane snowballing or something like that because of how strong like you are matched up against them. So where you are strong, Ku are stronger, and where you are weak, Ku are stronger than that as well. Like so, Kuro is not. There's no way that Pobel is going to solo kill Kuro in lane. Like Kuro spends all day playing against Faker in lane. Like I mean, he's got his head kicked in by Izium before, you know, on like his worst professional match ever. But what I will say about Kuro is generally he holds his own in lane and farms really well and has a decent impact in team fights. And he's always a bit of a threat on that Yasuo pick as well, in the sense of like he is a good Yasuo player.
Right now, yeah.
And then like Smeb is just the kind of guy who if anything goes wrong in that lane, like even if he gets a siege minion more than Silent Spartan, he's just gonna start ripping people apart. Like he's just gonna start dumping on your face. Like last time we saw Smeb play against a North American team. I know, right? With the beams.
Feeding them.
Like he fucking picked Lissandra and like started one-shotting people like 15 minutes with a needlessly large rod. Like the guy's a fucking brilliant League of Legends player, and he's gonna so it's gonna be fucking carnage. I'm talking in an NA perspective. Everyone wants a CLG dream to happen, but I don't see it. Well, of course not. Like the dreams.
I don't see it happening either. People overhyped the shit out of that. Of the 3-0 against TSM. That was a pretty.
Will show 3-0. How bad it is. Because I don't see many actually doing very well.
Like what I will say about North America, like. I'll say this as like almost a blanket rule for any 3-0 is that in 90% of the cases when a 3-0 happens, it is partly because one team played well, and it is partly because one team shit the bed. Because if you actually like go up against another team in a best of 5, you should have at least a solid strategy to take one game. Like you should be capable of having something to take a single game. So the fact that TSM didn't take a single game off CLG is almost worrying for like it's horrendous. It's extremely worrying for NA because it shows how kind of sort of like one-dimensional TSM were in that final and how badly they were exposed, how badly they just didn't even bother to show up. So yeah, it's great for CLG. They 3-0'd in Madison Square Gardens and they won Double won his first ever LAN and all this kind of thing. But it doesn't really matter. Like that's not a momentous final. It's not one that will go down in the world history of League of Legends or go down as an all-time great match or be the start of CLG's kind of rise back as a respected international team.
What? Yeah, international now.
The last time CLG was like vaguely respected internationally was in late season 2 when they played IPL 5 and took a few games off Moscow 5 and what was the other one they took? And Fnatic. They took a game off Fnatic and a game off Moscow 5. Back when both of them were like maybe a top 6 team in the world. I mean, I'm talking late season 2 here, so you might have to suspend disbelief there. Like when World Elite were the best team in the world, then you had Zubu Frost, Najin Sword, Zubu Blaze, and then it was like, and they had TPA, Moscow 5, and Fnatic. You remember those glory days? I remember that. I remember those days. So
wasn't CLGU better at that point still?
Yeah, CLGU as well. But like CLG NA, you could make a case they were top 8 in the world. Now I don't think they're like top 16 in the world. So it's bad time for them, really.
Yeah. Well. So yeah, let's just go to the predictions. So I'm still going for CLG because I'm really worried about Huhi, but if they can just make him work like usual, I mean, it's not like mechanically he'll be a downgrade, but it's like the way they have to play in the team. He has to follow them. Apparently, he's already pretty integrated in the team, so his communication is also good.
Yeah, but that's what they've said. So
I heard from more than just a team. It's just like a lot of other people that know who he said he's really good communicative. But that is going to be the point in game. They have to be able to communicate very well because they're a very strategic team. Not the great strategic team, but they are very reliant on that. And then 3 Flash Wolves and 4. Gaming, obviously. Anybody disagrees?
I have the same, but I have 55% second place for CLG, 45% second place for Flash Wolves, because
it'll go down to a tiebreak 100%, and I think that tiebreaker will be pretty close as well. It really just depends. Like if both teams play like to kind of what I think their level is, then CLG will win. But if Yowie Flash Wolves can play better than what they think their level is, or if CLG play worse than what I rank their level is, because I'm not shitting on CLG as much as people think I am. Like I actually think that Doublelift and Zion Spartan are respectable North American talents, and I think that CLG have probably the best roster you could get out of kind of North American only talent. Actually, well, and Huhi now.
Okay. Well.
I mean, I'm quoting CLG with Xmithy as well. And I actually think like they should be proud of what they've done in the sense of like in a region dug by imports, they've come out as a clear number 1 without the use of anything. Like I actually think that's pretty respectable and pretty impressive to kind of stick to your guns and not use it. Yeah, the last American hope, So I actually think that like I've actually got a lot of respect for CLG, and I actually think like their coaching staff are actually pretty decent and whatnot. But I also know that Yowie Flash Wolves actually have pretty decent coaching staff behind them as well. We just never talk about them. Like Taipei.
No one talks about Taiwan.
Right. LMS has a good infrastructure and surprisingly good.
It's bizarrely good. Like trust me, it's legit. So like this will be interesting and it'll be a good test for both teams. And I think this group is like while it's one of the weaker groups, it's one of the more like is actually quite an interesting group as well in the sense of like there is a legitimate like race for second. But I will still say CLG beat Yowie Flash Wolves 2-1, including tiebreak.
Sure.
All I know is whoever wins second place is going to get shit on in the quarterfinal. So.
Yeah.
So Group B, we have Invictus Gaming, China, Fnatic from EU, AHQ from Taiwan, and C9 from NA. So before we break in, C9, one game?
No.
Yes, no?
They're just so weak, like mechanically and. They can win, but then they have to find something like super OP in a patch. But I don't see because it's pretty clear what's actually good, and there aren't that many big changes in 5.18 I've seen right now. Just balance changes. So C9, I don't see how they even survive laning phase against all these teams, unless HQ is really overrated. And then I'll take it back maybe. But
I've heard very little about other stuff, but I've heard from someone that Flash Wolves seem to be doing better in scrims than HQ. But then again, that's scrims, and we're still 16 days out from the beginning of.
They still can't even play on the actual patch for Worlds yet, so let's be real here.
Yeah.
I suppose for a show called Korea Talk, it's actually the least interesting group for us because like there's now a Korean team in it. I mean, it was inevitable. I mean, thankfully, there's Korean spread everywhere, so we can still talk about the Korean players in other teams.
Exactly, we can talk about
There's still 4 Korean players in this group.
I know, right? There's no single Korean team, but there's 4 Korean players. They can almost make a team. Bruni top, Cacao jungle. Then you've got rookie mid and fuck if I'm
Game over can be the coach.
yeah, get right over coach. He tells them how to like play around his team and ride off their success. I don't know. But yeah, this don't know what else to say about this group really. I mean,
I think Reign Over is going to be exposed by Cacao, but that's pretty much the only person he's going to be exposed by in this group. I mean,
this whole group is interesting because it's a full like I find that every group is super similar to the last year's groups, just in different order. This is Group C in a way, well, because like LMQ actually did well last year, but like let's just
for the first.
This is
first couple days.
No, this is Group D.
Like
it's not Group C. It's Group D. You know, you have the wildcard team, C9, and then the other three that are competitive, sort of together. Because many people actually, I don't know, IG, in my opinion, it's a bit underrated. But people have a lot of different opinions who's going to get it first, second, and third. Like,
yeah,
I've seen everything except IG not getting out. IG always gets out though, but other than that, I have seen Fnatic going first, HQ getting second, Fnatic getting third. I mean.
So you know what? I'm gonna drop something, right? I fucking hate IG. I've always hated IG. I'll always hate IG. They fucking built around shit players like fucking Kid. I'm sorry, Kid is a shit player, and fucking what's his name? ZZ Tai is a shit player, and Kitties is a shit player, right? Okay, like ZZ Tai's thing is like he picks everything. He can play any champion. Oh, look how amazing he is! But like, well, he's not actually good at anything, is he? Really? Like, I'm sorry, yeah. Anyone who says ZZ Tai is a good top laner doesn't actually know what a good top laner looks like. Like, I actually think that one of the travesties of LPL, and one of the reasons I actually haven't found it that interesting, is because in terms of its top lane talent, it's actually not that good. Like,
because it's all in LSPL.
Like, yeah, it's a joke, but it's all on the bench. Like, you know, like LGD have two of the three best top laners in China on their team. Like, I mean, so like QG had V. IG had ZZ Tai, and Snake had who's the Snake top laner? Somebody help! Snake. I can't remember his name.
I have problems.
I have no idea.
Full Chinese language.
Oh, I remember his name. It was fucking 1 second. Here we go. He's coming up right now. Flandre.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I was actually a bit of a fan of Flandre.
Flandre's pretty good. He also shot calls for the team
yeah,
too.
He's actually quite.
His problem was that as the split carried on, he like kind of lost his carry edge flair and his like Azir top shit that he was pulling out, and really just kind of became like a bit more of a sort of standard meta top laner, which plays into because when you're better than somebody, if you start playing meta, it becomes more, especially in like I think it becomes more difficult for you to kind of outgain them in a region like China. But I will say that while IG have a really good mid lane and jungle combo, their bot lane and their top lane are not good. You know, this is a team where like the reason they beat Snake and QG in that like for the third Chinese spot was not because like they had the best like teamwork or anything like that. It was because they had the best quality of imports. Like this is a team that is carried so hard by the quality of their imports.
Also, 5.16 kind of fucked over QG.
Yeah,
they had no idea what they were doing in that patch.
So IG like Cacao is an S+ tier jungler in the sense of like he's one of the three greatest junglers to ever play this game, and Rookie is like an S tier mid laner in the sense of like he's a really good mid laner. You know, like I'm not saying Rookie's like one of the best mid laners ever because he hasn't won anything. Well, he won an OGN summer.
Yeah, he won OGN, and they both won an OGN with the worst player to win a title on their team.
Home wasn't on that team, mate.
Hachani.
I think Home
could still ultimate as Shen and use his ult as Zac, okay? At least he didn't like walk into bushes and die, because what they did was that he had pretty much the same awareness as Hachani, but they let him build tank and go top lane and just go full tank, so he could face check and still be a positive.
He also played a pretty mean Yorick as well. I remember that time where he solo killed Miso, now Phoenix, Irelia as Yorick. Like it was like there's a duel going on in the top lane. Yorick versus Irelia. This shit's going off. Like flashes for the Q. Like boom, motherfucker. But I will say I'm not convinced by IG at all. I do not think IG are a good team. I do not think they are a strong team, and I think they,
That's true.
they didn't even look like a good team if you ask me. And you know what? I'll never forgive them for what they did to Save. Like IG signed, like for people who don't know, IG signed Save, and they signed Fly. Told neither of them really what the roster was going to be. So both of them just assumed that they would join like the team, and they would play with like they would they would join the main team, and it'd be like Save, and then like Illusion. Like, and then it'd be a mix. It'd be like Fly or ZZ Tie, and then like Kid and Keys. That's what both of them kind of assumed the roster would be. And then, even though they signed them when Cacao and Rookie's original team fell through, IG just signed those players. So then, and then they were like, "Oh, you can just go to the LSBL. There goes a year of your career, guys." Like, not a particularly nice team, or not a team you should really, I think, cheer for in the way they've shown to treat certain Korean players, i.e., the ones they signed, and they kind of like to.
I don't so, LHD, really.
And Save got some big offers at the time as well. Like, bear in mind, like he came off a bad Worlds, but he had a fucking banging like spring season and like a really good. Like I had a couple of good games in summer. He was still a respected top laner. Still thought of like a strong top laner who made carry top lanes work in a meta where everyone was playing supportive Dr. Mundo shit. Like good player. So like maybe it's just my personal bias, and it probably is, but I do not think the IG are going to top this group at all. I think they'll maybe get second. I think they'll probably get second, but I don't think they're going to
beat them.
Fnatic.
Really? Yeah, but I see that is the Reignover problem. I'm not sure that Fnatic is solid enough to protect. They have to play as a team to beat Cacao, and I'm not sure that's going to be good enough.
See, Fnatic have a player whose name was like people should not forget. He was called Game Over for a reason.
Yeah, but I think that's a long time ago, and I think that Reignover, like, what I like about Fnatic is the fact that Reignover is like the perfect jungler for Fnatic, like in the sense of like
he's playing way too aggressive for them. You could play a lot more.
Like when I think about Fnatic as a team, I think Huni is the star, Verbiven is the secondary carry, and then it's like a gang side.
People fucking hate you for saying that, right? That Huni is the star. Like
he is the star.
He's
a star, but he's actually not the guy that's doing all the work. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah, he is. He's the best player in Europe, mate. I'm probably the best player in the West.
Gosh.
Let's move on. But
I think Verbiven is a great second star, but Huni is definitely the one that makes things happen early.
The reason that series against OG went to 5 games is because Huni had a bad series. Like if he'd had a good series, it wouldn't have gone to 5 games. Like don't get me wrong, Soaz played a fucking banging series. Soaz, if you're watching this, I know you are, mate. Fucking love you. But like
he does follow you, so
yeah, exactly. It's, but what I will say is that like Huni is the star of Fnatic, and he is the player who could control this entire group if you wanted to. And Reignover and Records for me are the players that really fit Fnatic well and have like been like the kind of in the sense of who Fnatic could get. That's the best players they could ask for.
Yeah, they got pretty much the best.
My issue is who the fuck has Reignover played against in the past year that's been a convincing jungle talent?
Svenskeren.
Yeah, but Svenskeren is carrying 3 dead bodies.
He's Fnatic when there was a point where SK was still playing relatively well and Fnatic still beat them in spring. Okay,
so you have one person. I'm still gonna say
he took Bengi to 5 games, mate. You fucking love Bengi.
Okay, we're not going there again, dude.
No MSI discussion.
Like, look, yeah, like you know what? I don't think IG are better.
But that's also a point. Cacao is the aggressive type.
Cacao and Rookie are better than their counterparts on Fnatic, and that is all that matters.
I think Fnatic is fine
against
Rookie.
But then I think Huni and Yellowstar are better than their counterparts on IG.
No, I think Huni
Yellowstar is definitely better than
Yes, he is. Yellowstar is great, but Reckles does not have an aggressive bone in his body, and he's not going to take advantage of a bot lane that usually plays safe.
It's not.
All they have to do is play safe and let Cacao fucking.
Reckles' laning is great. What are you talking about? It's his team fighting that's the fucking problem. His laning is good.
No,
it's not
dude,
like hyper aggressive. He's not going to take over the game.
He doesn't need to. If Fnatic play how they should and they play to the level
Cacao's going to win.
Play, IG gonna get a fucking head caved in.
See, I see
Fnatic going 6-0 in this group. I seen them fucking wrecking it.
You know the video from
Okay, that's overkill,
Rollcat?
mate.
They had Steve baking stuff for the players. They had a game. They had like a little video of Steve. That's what Rainover is going to be doing. He's going to be like has a chain on him, bringing food to Cacao, going. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is why I
Not,
left
it's
Korea.
not, it's not going to happen, mate. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, Cal spent his entire like time playing against shit junglers. What's he done with it? Fucking shit all.
Swift.
Dude, he played in summer 2014, man. Like,
Cacao, Clear Love.
yeah.
Wait, so it's
Played
not.
against
Wait, so it's not relevant for me to mention.
So it's
where
right
it's
now
not
he's playing
it's
against
a
Spirit,
result.
Swift, Clear Love.
He's played against significantly stronger jungling talent, and I still think I don't think IG is going anywhere significantly after like quarters. Maybe semis if they get an easy quarter group, but I think Cacao and Rookie are just going to tear Fnatic apart.
No, don't see it happening. Don't see it happening. Also, I don't think for Bevan's the kind of guy to get torn apart in lane. Like,
No, he won't.
Good laner.
I
him,
agree
but
with
I
that.
think they're going to roam. They're going to take advantage of Huni overextending because Zatai is
Who needs a
actually
spot?
Zatai overextends too, so that's kind of like
there is literally no evidence to say that like Rookie is a bigger talent than Huni when you think about them in the ecosystem of Korea and stuff like that. Like,
that's true.
there is literally zero evidence. The only reason that you can argue Rookie's a better player and like why he's a better player is because Rookie spent like
His entire career with Cacao.
yeah on a first tier team. Like, I'd like to see Rookie without without one of the best junglers in the world. I wonder what that would look like for Rookie. Would he still be the best mid laner in China? I'm not sure he would.
He is now not even the best. Come on.
I still think Cacao gives IG enough to take Fnatic out.
Don't see it happening.
I do think it's IG Fnatic 1 and 2.
I think they'll tie, and then we'll see what the fuck they do in tiebreak.
HQ has maybe a chance, but
I can see HQ taking a game off IG personally. Here's how I see this group going down. Maybe you can call me a fucking deluded.
I definitely don't see happening.
But maybe you can call me a deluded prick. Twitch chat, start calling me a deluded prick on 1, 2, 3, go. So Fnatic top the group 6-0. Bam. IG go 4, 5, 1, 4-2. 4-2. Yeah, they would go 3-3 in groups with AHQ going.
Oh, so 4-3 then you mean?
So AHQ going 3-3 in groups as well. AHQ versus IG in a tiebreaker. Cacao goes beast mode, beast the entire of AHQ. Job's done. Fnatic first, IG second, AHQ third. It goes down to a tiebreak for second place between AHQ and IG.
I could believe that, but I don't think Fnatic will not lose one game.
I don't think Fnatic is going to 2-0 IG. At best, they'd 1-1. I still think Cacao is good enough to literally carry this team to quarters in this group.
This is the worst meta for junglers to carry in as well. I truly believe that as well.
I don't know. I believe Cacao.
I actually disagree because their buffing warrior room live is actually quite good. You can do stuff early if you have with the good junglers. Echo and stuff.
Rainover's like, you know what? I don't think Rainover's as bad as you guys make him out to be as well. I don't think he's like a sort of solid all around jungler, but I think what he does for Fnatic, he does well, and I think he
ganks for Huni.
And I don't think that Fnatic's like such a one-dimensional team that like a single...
no, I don't fucking say that. I just think...
I don't think Reckless is going to punish Hidden Kitties. I don't think Forbidden is going to destroy Rookie.
Yeah,
I think Rookie is going to roam a bit more than Forbidden will, and is going to roam with Cacao and just dumpster Rainover, and they're going to push in Huni, and they're going to stop him from carrying. It's going to be on Forbidden, I think, to carry Fnatic if they want to win games.
It'll also just matter what day it is for Rookie and Cacao, how well they will play.
Like, and this is probably something where, like, you know what, every analyst will be like, you're fucking wrong, you're fucking this, but I
saw everything. That's why I want to point out about this game. Like, this group, like, these three teams, well, HQ gets least love, but...
I'm not writing off HQ as well. I actually think HQ are like a pretty good team. I don't think that HQ is as good as people make. Like, I saw there were comments to people like, HQ are better than Fnatic. HQ are like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, no, like, I don't think Westdoor is actually that complete of a player. I think that Ziv is like a pretty decent kind of top laner. But I don't know. I'm not really like feeling AHQ as a team. Maybe that'll change after I've become an expert on Taiwan in 2016. Keep posted for Taiwan talk coming soon. But I will say that, like, I just, you know what, this is the time. This is a time where the West is gonna kind of prove people wrong. And top of last time a Western team topped a group in an international competition, I can't even think when that was. Like in the World Championships,
Well,
that was
I
Fnatic in season
am,
three.
dude, I am.
Fnatic are the only team to ever top a group in a World
Oh, you
Championship.
mean World Champion? Well, I am World Championship. TSM top the group.
That wasn't a real World Championship. That wasn't, mate. That was a weird dark nightmare where some ghosts came in and pretended to be the Coup Tigers for a bit. Um, but no, like the last time a team topped the World Championship group stage was Fnatic in season three. Like this club has a lot of pedigree behind it, a lot of international
Oh,
success.
I definitely think they're good. Like they're definitely a top 8 team. Like maybe even better. But I'm still gonna be hard in my opinion to beat Kakao twice, or like once is enough. I guess.
I think if there's a tie, it's going to be Fnatic IG for first position. There's a tiebreaker. That's what I would say for
I
tiebreakers.
also think that like they're gonna tie. Not.
Okay. Well, moving to Group C then,
Hmm.
which is probably going to be a very short discussion with SKT, EDG, H2K, and BKT.
This is Group A from last year. See the reference.
The agony of Ryu fans continues, and the agony of Ryu continues.
I thought they wanted
I
to
think
play
that is
Faker.
okay. I would say this is Group C is like the most overhyped and group of them all. The whole Ryu versus Faker. Okay,
Oh, this
yeah,
is
Ryu was great,
storyline.
but he was not as good as he was when he played for KT.
Oh yeah, no. No.
No,
And
he did see a resurgence when he came to Europe in the sense of like he really kind of refound himself as a mid laner and stuff
yes,
like that.
but I
Because
don't think he got to the same level.
in his later days in Korea, he really didn't look very good on anything that wasn't called
It's
Oriana.
it's also mainly because now he gets to play all his champions and the team
Yeah.
plays around him. But that's not gonna.
I don't see Bangkok Titans winning a game. I don't see H2K not beating any team that's not named Bangkok Titans. And the only interesting thing is going to be the SKT versus EDG, which I would rather avoid because so many people fucking talk about the MSI and everything. And
For me, like this
No,
series,
actually, I'm really happy that SKT got a good. I mean, that they got EDG because they couldn't get LGD and IG was not worth it in my opinion. Because now they get some serious good practice and can already see how they'll go further in the group stage. SKT versus either LGD.
like it is a good test of because I think that like SKT are definitely the better team than EDG now, especially like if Koro manages to play. Like, Koro doesn't actually manage to play, and they have to use Amazing J, who's really not that amazing. He's really just called himself J, and that was already taken by the guy who plays for Taipei Assassins, or used to. I'm not sure.
I mean, if Origins can have Amazing, they can have Amazing J. You know.
Yeah.
Then should have been in the same group. That would have been good.
But what I will say is that, like, this group is almost reminiscent of the last group that EDG played at Worlds in the sense of they got matched in a group with the best Korean team. And the only real question is like, will EDG shit the bed enough to lose to a game to H2K? Probably not because it's ED. But you know what? Who knows? Well, I don't think it will happen. So I would say I would know the answer to that question. No, it will not happen.
I think Deft would not let that happen, just like himself.
Yeah. But this group for me, this group's probably the dullest of all 4 groups. Like, not only are Bangkok Titans not a particularly interesting like team in the sense of like no one's really hyping up Garena. Fuck those guys.
LMS is happy there now with Garena,
yeah,
so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're happy, then you know it's bad.
Yeah. But also like no one's hyping up Garena. H2K are on a bit of a downward spiral as they got into Worlds anyway. And they've got matched with probably the 2, worst teams for them to get matched against in sense of SKT and EDG. It's the number 1 Korean team and the number 2 Chinese team. Like, it's a bit, it's such a top-heavy group. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Really top-heavy. So, I mean, is there much else to say here?
I just want to kind of
I just think
to chat, because normally I actually don't want to do that, but we're not discussing EDG SKT who's better right now. It's just, it doesn't matter who is better, even right now. It's going to be important in the best of 5s where they meet who's better. Fucking EDG can 2-0 SKT right now in group stage. It won't fucking matter if EDG is better in an actual best of series. best of ones are not very relevant in case of who's gonna actually win worlds here.
Yeah.
It's a testing area. Both teams won't even go full ham against each other. They're probably just gonna keep some strategies for later in the actual.
I'd be surprised. Like, usually teams don't scrim against each other if they're playing in groups. I'd be surprised if SKT and EDG were like, "Fuck it, we might as well scrim."
They could.
It's not like anyone's gonna. It's not like anything else is threatening in this group.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that this game, like, they probably will take a game off each other. It'll get on to a tiebreaker. Like, no one can confidently say who will win the tiebreaker because no one's sure of like what EDG's exact level are because they had that real bad slump where they got their fucking. They played terrible against LTD
Yeah, they had 2 days.
IG.
They played LGD and IG back to back within less than 24 hours of each other.
Yeah, and they played really badly.
Similar. Yeah.
I do think that SKT have the better star player in the sense that Faker's better than Deft, but I think that EDG have actually more talent. Like their talent is better spread around the map, in the sense of like,
advantage.
Because I think that like, but then I also think that Bang is still kind of underrated, weirdly, as an AD carry because he has to play underrated, yeah, because he has to play.
Oh, by the people you mean now?
Yeah, because he has to play second fiddle to Faker.
Yeah.
And like people say Marin's the second carry of SKT, which is really not true. The guy plays Maokai a lot. Like, how can he be the second fiddle to a guy who plays Maokai? Maokai does not carry games.
Maokai.
Yeah, he just he twisted advances onto people and knocks you up. Like,
he's very good at it though. You have to.
Yeah, I've complimented Marin's Maokai before. His twisted advance usage is sublime. But what I won't say is that Marin is like,
No.
Sadly,
Marin's great on Maokai because he can soak damage when he fucks up.
Yeah. What I will say is interesting is this is the first time that like Ryu has played versus Pawn since like OGN winter groups. Was it winter groups?
214? No, wait. Did they play?
How? Because I know there was a time where Ryu played versus Pawn. I don't know.
It's been a while.
No, I think actually in OGN Winter Group 2014, Pawn played, but like Samsung Blue at the time played versus CJ and his Blaze. So I don't know if Ryu and Pawn have ever actually played each other in a professional match before. I think as Samsung Blue were on the rise, KT Bullets were on the downwards.
Yeah, they were.
So I don't think they actually ever managed to properly. Wait, no, I've got it. Both of them played against each other because KT Bullets in OGN. So let me think. The lineup for Najin Sword at the time. I remember everything new. Najin memories. So OGN Winter was Najin Sword's lineup was Expression, Watch, Song, or no, Nagane or Peng, depending. This was when they used Peng for a couple of games. They played Syndra and Jace, and like Song was in the. So yeah, in OGN Winter 2014.
14, yeah, they played in groups.
Yeah, Samsung Blue played KT Bullets in the group stages, and Najin Sword split two. Najin Sword beat split 1-1 with Samsung Blue, and then lost 2-0 to KT Bullets. Samsung Blue and KT Bullets at the time split 1-1, and it was quite a close series, and it was good. So that's the last time they played professionally. Is they split 1-1. Now I don't think they'll split 1-1 now because obviously the tables are very different. Pawn's the bigger star now, and has gone on to win Worlds and OGN titles and all that.
Team has Lulex.
I actually know Pawn never won an OGN title, and KT Bullet Ryu now has to play with Lulex instead of Insect. So it's gone downwards. No, and Cacao.
Yeah, at least Pawn won LPL. Fine.
Like that's one thing you got to say about Ryu. He must be fucking he's in a nightmare. You know what I mean? He knows what a good jungler is. He knows it ain't Lulex. Like he knows it isn't. How is Lulex still on that team? Like he should have been benched in fucking like the start of summer. Like surely Ryu could just go on the phone to some guy in Korean solo queue and just be like, "Oi mate, do you want to play on a team in Europe and get paid a bit of money?" Yeah, that sounds great. I'll come do that. All right, I've got your flight ticket sorted. Ryu face.
Does he hang up the phone with his face?
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, hang it up now. Here's my Ryu face." Like that's how Ryu lives his life. He's just a fucking boss.
Yeah, I don't see. I like the overhyped Ryu versus Faker and Faker versus Pawn really.
It's you're right. It's gonna make a storyline of it and a hype video.
Oh,
and
I know.
Stuff,
I just don't think it's gonna live up to any hype they provide.
No, they're gonna get destroyed so badly.
Well, I just mean even the Faker versus Pawn. I don't see that being a super hype match either. I think they're gonna play tentatively, and they're gonna try and not show things because they know the rest of the group's a joke.
SKT are probably going to be like the ultimate fucking troll and not even fucking play fake groups and probably just play easy.
I hope they don't. I really fucking hope they. I mean, they can play against Bangkok Titans, so all I care. But please, first EDG, just let Faker play. Fuck. I don't know. I don't even know why Easywin is there. To be
Bring
honest.
Tom.
Don't bring Bengi, bring Tom. Even though Bengi's clearly the better player.
Bring Tom as the sub.
Yeah. Just so we can't play.
Yeah.
It's already locked in, man.
No, we need to see Scout. This is the glorious arrival of Scout, the third mid lane of SKT. The guy would never play a professional match in his entire career if he stayed on SKT.
He'll just show up, play 2 EDG matches, win both, and then never play again.
Who fucking body porn for some bizarre reason, like he is the kryptonite to kryptonite.
That could be a strategy. Let Scout play 2 games, body it, and then just sell him for a shit ton of money because he's good, you know. He played 2 games.
He'll fucking turn up on fucking Cloud9 in 2016, like for some reason. I fucking know.
Okay, so then we have Group D, which is clearly the group of death, with LGD, KT, TSM, and Origin.
Right, this is Group C from last year. So keep that. Oh.
Yeah, but they actually have 4 good teams because LMQ showed up for the first day and then fucking didn't show up again.
To be fair, LMQ wrecked Fnatic's like chance getting out of the group when they took that game off them. Because if they hadn't taken that game off them, like Fnatic
they also took a game off OMG, alright? So
yeah, they took a game off OMG and they took a game.
It's still similar. I mean, they got in the game of both.
And what I would say about LMQ as well is the fact they took a game off OMG meant all those LMQ players like value went upwards like this in China because all the Chinese.
Oh yeah, that's why they got.
Oh no, they're actually a good team now. Like these Chinese.
That's why they all got balled out.
Yeah,
and thus we have the pain of Dandy and Mata.
Yeah. So that's why Vasily got sold to VG and why No Name was it No Name? No More got sold to
No Name was German, right?
QG,
but at the time they were SPG and then they changed to QG, so he got sold to SPG and who any other ones pop? Oh, Ackerman
went to Starhorn.
Yeah, went back to Starhorn Royal Club. Like everyone kind of they all their values except for Zhao who stayed in NA and Elo boosted.
Got some money.
Yes. Like I would say, but then I don't think that TSM have the same. Like I don't think TSM can take games off people in the same way that LMQ took games off people last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but people didn't expect LMQ to be that good.
No, I think this group is the group of the memes. Of all the pictures of Dyrus just looking sad that he has to play against Flame, Acorn, Soaz, and Someday.
Group of top laners. This group, it's mostly about like people. Well, yeah, LGD is clearly because they're an actual favorite to win the whole thing. It's nobody fucking doubts they're not gonna make it out of group's number 1, like pretty much undefeated. So it's can Origin beat KT 2 games? That's the real question. Because I actually went too big on this already. I actually discussed this matchup before the groups were drawn, and tada, they actually got out, so that's quite interesting. But I just think the way KT plays, that they counteract Origin a bit too much, and the fact that Origin is not the best in 2v2 either. I mean, they can 2v2, they can stand on lane, but the way they want to win is also like lane swap and let Amazing run around in the jungle and let Mitty roam. But that's exactly how KT does it, and that was the same shit as Ku versus CLG. They do it better. They just do it better.
But I think Peekaboo is better than both Mithy and Amazing, and then you can just add in score.
Yeah, like when you think about the OG versus,
they have no clear advantage, but KT actually has they have a better top lane and offense. I mean, so is this pretty good. I think he actually returned a bit to form this year because I think he was he was really falling off in end season 4.
When he was still playing for Fnatic.
Yeah. But some days it's like he's the actual top tier top laner right now in the whole world. So they have a small disadvantage there, and so is mainly good on Gangplank, who's getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed.
To be fair, what we say about Soaz is that he has like a huge champion pool in the sense of like Soaz can play a champion for 4 games and show and like realize a new trick that no one else has realized with it. Like I actually think Soaz is like pretty legit right now. And he's like in a really good form.
Yeah, but I always counteract like he's good. He can play a lot, but I don't think he can play all of them really always at the highest level. And he has to like.
Well, no, of course not. No one. It's no one could possibly do that. But he can't. Like he's more like if Soaz picks a champion, he's less likely to have a shit game on it than like the average fucking top laner is. Like he never does that classic Western thing of can you play? No. Yes, I can play Gnar. When what they actually mean is, I play Gnar in solo queue occasionally, and I'm not terrible with it. Like he actually could legit play Gnar. Like he's not going to be to be the best Gnar in the world, but he can play Gnar, even though he's only played like 4 games in the last 2 weeks. Like he doesn't need to practice a champion to play it well.
But you don't want to bring your average champion you play in solo queue versus KT who plays around some days.
Yeah, like
a big issue.
Like I agree in the sense of like this is a bad matchup for Origin because like the 2 teams are actually really similar in where their strengths are found and what roles their players take. But KT are their players are straight up better. Like I mean,
except AD carry, I actually think Niels can rival Arrow pretty decently.
Oh shit!
Fucking Arrow.
Fucking shots fired there, Arrow. You shit wanker.
I would agree with Peter's sentiment.
But and Pickaboo is in my opinion better than Mitty. Now I can get all the fans of the Mitty fanboys hate from all the Mitty.
And you also have the issue that
but
KT's weaker in the mid lane, but Xpeke has clearly fallen off of what he used to be.
Yeah, it depends on Peke like producing some weird worlds like amazing form. But I will say this: like last time Nagne played a Worlds, he actually played really well as well. So
Peke
oh yeah, he did.
Peke has been.
Nagne was the only challenge to Faker.
Yeah, like
Worlds.
he actually Faker was. I might have got this impression like game 4 or something when he got bodied by Nagne's Gragas. He was like, we should ban this now. Like I'm bored of game, but I'm bored of this fucking Gragas.
That's such a good pick there.
I know.
No, but Peke he's turned into a super passive laner, and I don't see him change that. That's also the way Origin just likes to play, and Peke is not going to dumpster Nagne. Nagne has still more like of the carry aggressive potential than Peke has these days. So mid lane is also not.
I still would rather have seen Origin in Group A because then you have 3 teams that play the exact fucking same. Of no one ganks mid lane and the jungler goes top and bottom.
Yeah, I think if you'd put Origin in Group A, that actually would have probably made it like the hardest group to call in the sense of like
that would have been good. Everyone, because then CLG would have
Origin and CLG would have been a real dogfight.
And Flash Wolves a little bit,
Yeah, Flash Wolves as well, and then you've got to take into account like I think Origin could potentially like Origin are more likely to take a game off Coup than they are to take a game off KT. Like in the sense of like not only did Origin draw a tough group. Because they drew like the number 1 Chinese team and the Korean team as well. But they also drew the Korean team that they're like, out of Coup and KT, they're more likely to beat Coup than they are to beat KT, I think. So it's bad. It's really bad luck for Origin, I will say that.
For stylistically, yes.
Yeah.
And then we have TSM. How many games are they going to win this year?
I actually really don't think they're going to win. Because actually they are the wildcard of their group now. So if they get a win, that could really fuck up second place right now.
Just a little shot in the dark. TSM's total record at Worlds 7-13, or 53%, 54%. But remember, 2 of those wins came from one was Samsung White trolling the shit out of it and playing ridiculously late game picks, and then the other one was versus SK when Svenskeren was banned. And when Svenskeren came back in, SK beat TSM.
And another one of their wins was.
Wait, you're not went all the time, right? Because they have way more games if you count season 1 and 2 as well. But I guess you mean.
I'm not counting season 1. I'm counting season 2, 3, and 4.
They actually sucked in season.
Yeah,
in season 2, they went 0-2 because they got automatically seeded and got fucking dumpstered.
I can't remember how they got seeded. Yeah.
Season 3 was 2-6. They beat International Wildcard Team only once because they lost to him because they played Teemo, and they beat Lemon Dog.
Oh yeah, they
once.
fucking threw that intentionally.
Because Nuke Duck picked Swain.
Yeah. No, wait. No, Nuke Duck picked Swain.
Oh, no, that was SK2.
No, he picked Ari into Reginald Z because he wanted to kind of expose Reginald because that's the kind of player he was at the time. And obviously like it didn't really work out for him because Oddmon just like camped mid lane and Dexter didn't really do much at all. And then so that was like that's 2 wins they've got so far. And then they went, and then
Samsung White.
They had 3 in the groups.
TPA versus 2 versus TPA, 1 versus Starhorn Royal Club,
1 versus
SK, and Samsung White.
The worst part is about this current TSM lineup is like, I mean, I guess for fans of Korean Salt, this is actually a bit of a rare treat because now we're actually talking like properly about teams that aren't outside of Korea and showing that we do actually watch all the regions somewhat.
Sadly.
I watch LMS, but I don't watch LPL because fuck that place. But
we kind of covered it.
But like I actually think this TSM lineup is less competitive, like in terms of like less man-for-man talented than the last year's TSM lineup. Like this is one of the few times where a lineup has downgraded since last year. Wild Turtle has driven off a bridge, and like Santorin is a straight-up downgrade.
Yeah, he was a downgrade. That's true.
I don't think they've downgraded. I think that
they declined.
Yeah, outside of Amazing never really played well in NA, and it's obvious that he plays better when he has like a structure around him that's family closer to him.
Yeah.
Or family and friends. But Dyrus has fallen off from what he was. Lustboy clearly is not playing as well as he was last year, and Wild Turtle is not playing as well as he was last year. So you have 3 people not playing as well, a downgrade in the jungle. And Bjergsen.
Like don't get me wrong, I still think Bjergsen is potential. Well, let me have a look at his group actually. Okay, so he's not better than Godfrey. He's part. You know what? Bjergsen might even be the second best mid lane in this group. Don't matter. Like
issue being is he's playing against 2 people who are going to farm under the turret. Never let him do shit.
Yeah, Nagano is not the kind of guy that gets solo killed in lane. Like he's not that kind of player. Like Nagano is quite he's a smart fucker. You know what I mean? Like he spent his like
upside, I guess.
Yeah, like he's really smart. Like he's I want to have a chat with Nagne about like his way of playing the game.
Nagne can do. I mean, he has. Oh wow,
that's they're not gonna. They're not gonna let him.
No, they know it. It's obvious.
Kill him.
It's like
they're gonna play passive
and you win the fucking game. It's TSM has an open book of the last fucking few months where you can just see, alright, that's how you beat them. That's how you beat them. It's always the same way, but
Yeah.
We
examples enough where you can see how easy it is to beat.
You might see Jinx bans only in games versus TSM.
Yeah, there might be a few Jinx bans.
Jinx is irrelevant, just ban Lulu, you're fine. Ban Lulu and make sure that Bjergsen doesn't get to 0. Then you're pretty fine.
But I don't think TSM's going to win a game, even though they've been talked about how apparently TSM boot camps really well. Even though after all of their boot camps, they still have that first game loss, which has changed a bit this playoffs, but they were notorious for boot camping for a long time, still coming in and losing the first game, and then adapting mid-series. It's like they don't adapt well coming into the game. They're good after they lose once.
Yeah, and they certainly don't adapt well to unconventional picks as well. So now, while KT have shown that they'll pick Vi or LeBlanc randomly in high-pressure matches just for the fun of it and hope for the best, it's a dangerous time, and you know what, TSM they're done.
I hope Curry doesn't think LeBlanc is again top tier because they buffed RW a little bit because she's still a tier 2 mid lane right now, so not tier 1 at all.
Yeah, but the problem is as well is I'm not sure if Azir has been nerfed in patch 5.18 because I don't read patch notes. But what I will say is that Nagne plays Azir, so he's not just going to get away giving it up to Bjergsen and let him carry it. That's the one champion that Bjergsen could realistically carry a game on. But every mid laner in this group plays Azir, so how's that going to happen?
To be fair, Pekka's Azir is pretty damn shit.
Yeah, but he still plays it.
He plays it, but it's not nice.
It's not hard to click a ban.
But then, also, none of these teams are going to make the mistakes of just giving you Azir every game.
Definitely not Korean teams.
Yeah, Liquid PR likes to just give the best player the best champion and just be like, oh, what if they're going to win or not?
The pressure got them.
So do you guys think Origin has any chance of making it out?
No, because people say it, but the stylistic difference and the mechanical difference as well from some players, it's not gonna. They're not good enough. Like even if they have like that super great one game versus Fnatic, if they can keep that up, it's not gonna happen.
Like the sad thing is
they're also more likely to tilt. I don't actually like using that, but
the sad thing is for Origin is if they got placed into Group A, I'd say you know what they've got a really good chance of getting out.
Like Group A, though, is the dream.
They had based on the way the group worked, I think they had a 50% chance of being in Group A, like a 50% chance of being in Group D.
It was actually
because they couldn't be.
Well, technically
they couldn't be in B or C.
It was 25% because they had to be drawn the first time, so they only had 1/4, so it was only 25% to be honest.
Yeah, so you know what, like this is Origins, like this. They've hit a wall. You know what I mean? Like, they faced the Korean team. They're stylistically worst mass match again. Even if like Jin Air had gone to Worlds, like they would have been more capable of beating Jin Air than they would have been capable of beating KT. Even if you imagine that KT, Ku, and Jin Air are all equally as good, like KT would be the nightmare opponent for Origin because of how they match up, I think. So, and then you've got LGD, which are like a really like good team in the sense of who the players on that team are. Like Godv, legit mid laner, like legit as fuck mid laner, and fucking.
Their biggest issue is TBQ.
Yeah.
But who the fuck is in this jungle pool? Santorin, Amazing, and Score.
Yeah, like
not that much work against.
No, and again, like TBQ is not as bad as people make out him to be. He's kind of the reign over his region, really. Like,
I don't think he's that bad. He just makes dumb plays. He's mechanically sound. He just makes stupid plays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for him it doesn't matter because he has a sick lineup around him. So
yeah. So I can't see a situation where Origin get out of this group, honestly. Which is sad because I quite like Origin, but you know what?
I was hoping, yes.
Yeah, but they really. Because of the way the seeding system worked, they got fucked over.
We did predict correctly, though.
Yeah, in a good way that the seeding would work. I mean, the way that they should seed teams, Origin should have gotten a better group because they wouldn't have been C3. They wouldn't have been put as a wildcard team, so they just were thrown for the leftover team and then.
Yeah, because the problem they were in was like, they're undoubtedly the strongest team in Pool 3, but the problem with being a team in Pool 3 is you're almost like guaranteed to get a Korean and a Chinese team, you know. Pain got like the best wildcard spot you can hope for since they didn't draw
they didn't draw Korean and Chinese.
Yeah, and Cloud9, like the other problem as well is like if you, for example, let's say you hypothetically took Group B and you swapped Group B and Group A and you swapped the first seed and then you swapped Cloud9 and Origin. I think that if you had a Group B with like CLG, IG, AHQ, and Origin, I think Origin could potentially get out of that group as well. But I don't think that they can get out of this group.
They had to aim for this NA group.
All I can say, best thing about Group D was when TSM was drawn and they skipped B and C and went right to D.
Oh my god! I got the world's biggest. Instant erection.
Like you said, Twitter blew up when. You said Twitter blew up when people were talking about the fact that like CLG drew Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
No, Twitter blew the fuck up when TSM jumped from A, B, and C all the way to D and is like, wait, how did that work? And like, well,
and then
you can't have a Korean team in this group, and you can't have a you can't have a Korean team in this group. Can't have LMS in this group. Yeah, so forced into that group and completely butt fucked.
Fucking amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we all agree LGD KT.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I'm behind KT here. 100%.
I think we're pretty much good, but there's a few additional comments. I know Sam has a little bit of a rant he may want to go on, but I have an issue of the fact that people continue to use peak performance fallacy, like, well, what if they're playing with peak performance? Well, we haven't seen them play their peak performance for 2 years, so that is an irrelevant fucking question.
And my other issue about like this idea of, what about if like this Western player really steps up? Like, well, what's to say the Korean player or the Chinese player won't really do that as well? Like, these players like have slumps just like everyone else does. They have highs, they have lows. Like, like who's to say like like the ultimate argument for that is like it's like the argument like, well, what happens if X players just return to their like amazing form when they won everything? Well, yeah, but like if that was like a realistic thing that happened often, then Dade would be at Worlds right now. Like if he decided, you know what, I want to win. He could have made it to Worlds based on even on that M3 lineup. But that's why it doesn't happen, because we don't live in a fucking fantasy world where players miraculously return to their best form. Like it doesn't happen.
People keep talking about like they use boot camping, like, oh, you're gonna get in the hyperbolic time chamber. No. See, when you do that in the thing, only like 2 people are in there.
Yeah.
So if every single person is boot camping, it's irrelevant.
Yeah,
and the fact that you're like, you could spend 100 days trying to work out and get something really good, and just be past your prime, and you could be 45 trying to play tennis singles, and you could practice your mind out like a year and a half and try and get 1 major in, and you will fail because you can't hit the peak. You're going to begin declining because your body is declining. You don't always improve. Just because you try to do something well does not mean you're guaranteed to improve. It's like, well, I spent 200 hours learning this thing. Well, great, idiot. You are still not good at it.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I could be 70 and want to fucking pick up a car, but I'm sorry, I can't do that.
the other problem as well is this idea that like like teams do improve in boot camps legitimately. Like Fnatic last year legitimately improved in a big way in their boot camp in terms of like that their highs became a lot more kind of pronounced and stuff like that. But what I'll also say is like it didn't matter. They still didn't get out of their group. They took a game off Samsung Blue, amazing. They went 0-2 to OMG. Like so even if TSM managed to improve, like let's say if you say TSM's here and then managed to improve their level to up here, it's still not going to matter because Origin will theoretically improve their level, and then KT, there's no reason why KT can't improve their level, and then that's still not on a good enough level to reach LGD anyway.
My issue too is that the assumption that everyone will always improve. That doesn't happen. People degrade. We've seen that with, quote, the North American player who has gotten a lot of talk and like discussion, is people can degrade, and it happens, and you can't just be like, well, they can clearly improve. No, it's something like you have to objectively go, that sucks. We're friends with him, so we're gonna try and help him and be nice to him. But you can't look at the facts and go, fuck this. We're friends. He's clearly improving. You don't always improve. Degradation occurs.
Bootcamping also, like, Western teams sometimes just at a wall, and if you keep losing and you don't fucking realize it, the main problem for TSM is not gonna be like, yeah, they've been practicing well. No, they need to fucking find new strategies. They need to fucking realize how to actually win this in the game in the way it's being played right now, because they haven't been able to fucking figure that out since Spring Split, pretty much.
Practice is great, but you need to realize you need to practice. It's the sandbox issue all over again. You can practice all you want, but until you can practice like a small, tiny part of it. We want to practice the second dragon at 15 minutes, and we want to practice it 40 times. Well, that means you have to spend each time you have to prepare and you have to do lane phase to get there, and you may be so far behind you're going to be like, well, we're going to give that dragon up anyways. So we just wasted that game. Like, the amount of time you'll put in to try and practice one specific example is asinine for this game.
Yeah, and so Twitch chat actually posed an interesting question 1 second ago. So thank you, MIAO. It said, which Korean team is most likely to shit the bed at Worlds? Shit the bed as is tradition at Worlds. Because that actually raises a valid point. Because except for Season 2, where National Sword really just got a bit unlucky and had to play Taipei Assassins first off, normally a Korean team does underperform at Worlds. So which one is it likely to be?
I don't think it's going to be KOO this time, and I don't think it's going to be SKT. I think it's going to be KT. They're not going to make it past quarters.
Yeah,
for me, it's not underperforming. It's just they're not that good. For me, I don't think any of them will underperform. I just think they will perform, but it's not like the usual Korean standards.
I could see KOO drawing KT for quarters, and then just beating them 3-1.
I don't think that's allowed. I don't think it's allowed to happen.
I think it is.
That is allowed to happen.
Dude, the way China versus China always happens, man.
The way quarterfinals is going to work is the first place team. So you have 4 first place teams. Each one is going to draw the other teams. They're going to draw the second place teams.
I thought there was.
And then when the second.
I thought there was a random. I thought they introduced like a randomized element to try and stop regional matchups, at least in the quarters.
No.
I definitely remember reading something about that.
That's going to be, if they do that, that's going to be like retardedly dumb, because if you have, what happens if 3 Korean teams get first?
Yeah, they're not doing that.
Or,
No,
like,
they didn't want to get A, B again. Like, they didn't want to do that
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay.
That's
First,
why they
but if you have 2
redrew.
But the way, I believe from what they've said, is you have the 4 first place teams pick the second place teams, and then the 4 second place teams pick A, B, C, or D, and you get seeded. So you can't play, the earliest you can play someone in your group is semis.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
But I could see KT being bounced out in the quarters.
I think
mainly because of the arrow is my biggest issue.
Yeah.
There are like 2 other non-Asian, like Chinese or Korean teams that's probably gonna make it. So.
And like National Shield shit the bed it was last year, but they didn't shed it like as badly as people make out. Like, yeah, they dropped a game to Cloud9, they dropped a game to Elements, but they still topped their group. Like, they still won their group, you know. And
then they got beat by OMG, who is in eternal suffering of losing to Starhorn Royal Club in either quarters or semis, and then having the better team lose.
Yeah, like so, like it's a difficult question to answer. Like, and also. This year, I think that the 3 Korean teams that went are unquestionably the best 3 teams in Korea. Whereas in season 3, you can make an argument.
Shield was season 3. Yeah.
So in season 3, you can make a legitimate argument that Samsung Ozone running up to the World Championships actually didn't look that good running up into it, and then they had this really like cocky attitude when they got to Worlds anyway.
God, yeah, that was horrible.
So I don't think a Korean team is going to fall down due to really cocky attitude issues like Samsung Ozone did. Again, because I think that like Korean teams are really wary of that happening, and I also don't think that like no team went on a miracle gauntlet run. Like the gauntlet actually went as we all predicted it would, like as as logic would dictate, which is Jin did well in the gauntlet, and then they lost to KT. Like, that was what happened.
Convincingly.
That's what we said. The winner of the first match will lose against KT. That's what we said.
So yeah. So like there was no miracle happen. Thing that happened this time. So I'm not sure if I actually think this is probably the time where a Korean team is least like, especially since Korean teams this time aren't going in as like the overwhelming favorites for the whole tournament.
No.
So,
I mean, even season 3, you had Samsung. You had Samsung, or was it Samsung or MVP at that time?
It was MVP.
They swapped during Worlds. They changed
okay, so they were Samsung. Samsung Ozone really underperformed and were really fucking cocky. And it was clear that KTB was a better team than them. And then you have Season 4, where Shield went on this crazy run and beat out KTB and beat out SKT.
KT Arrows as well.
KT Arrows. Who you could argue either of them were the best. But then again, I don't think Shield really the bet. I mean, they lost in quarterfinals. It's not. I mean, it's not great. It's not great, but they were in a side of they played against the Chinese team, and it's not something they should be so disappointed by. I mean, that's another thing that was really annoying during the group draw that Riot had, was that they said China greatly improved this year. No. China bought a lot of Korean players and put them in their team, but China has never not made it out of groups.
Yeah.
If you look back at all the Worlds, every single one of their teams has made it out of groups. None of them have been bounced out early. The only teams that get bounced out early are Samsung Ozone and the Western teams.
Yep, that's pretty true. So, yeah, I would say that this year, if it was any year that a Korean team wouldn't shit the bed, it would be this time, because I actually think you've undoubtedly got the 3 best Korean teams at Worlds. And
if you're looking for a team to shit the bed, it's IG and quarters.
Oh yeah, definitely IG. IG is a major.
IG and quarters. But with one last thing about the Chinese teams have only lost games to Koreans and Moscow 5.
Dude, said you beat W, man. Worlds.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
If you don't,
you have M5, CLG EU,
but those are the only
teams that were really great.
Yeah. In their time.
And you had one of them was the 8-hour fucking pause, which
really should have won that as well.
Really fucking terrible.
They kind of rolled up. Like they did find a way to beat CLG in that
and then you had Koreans. So unless you're Moscow 5, which was legitimately one of the best teams in the world when they played, and CLGU, who was also legitimately one of the best teams in the world when they played during that period of time.
Shorter period.
Or you're Korean. So, sorry. I don't see Chinese greatly improving. I see Chinese buying a lot of talent, sucking it out of Korea so that they have a chance to win.
That's the major issue, because they sucked it out of Korea, they didn't replenish it. They're still weakened after doing some weird exorcism or something.
Like, Korea 2.0 has improved over the last year from how it was at the start of the year. But, you know, it's still in a state of healing kind of thing. Like, it's like someone ripped off all your arms and your legs. Like, I mean, you might get good with your prosthetics, but it's still going to take you a while. Like, you know, you're not going to be good overnight. Like, so yeah, I don't necessarily buy into this idea that China has greatly improved. I think Chinese teams are more like, you know, on par with top Korean teams now as well. It's difficult to say. It's difficult. I also think there's more there's more good teams in China now than there are good teams in Korea now. But I do believe that good when you think about the grand.
I want to shout out to Torrent, his video about how China actually fucks up their talent distribution, because that's so true.
Constantly. We already said that about IG.
Yeah,
You could say the same about VG. You could say the same about so many of the teams.
You
could say about M3 with Dade. They put Dade on with Looper, and Looper was a body that, he was great on the team because he had literally 4 of the best players to touch the game on his team, and all he had to do was be said, Looper, teleport to this ward. Okay. Looper, teleport to this ward. Okay. And then he showed up, and because he was told to teleport, he did amazing.
Yeah, that was one thing I never got. Like, when people were praising like Looper's TP usage, I was like, well, it was good in the sense of like he pressed a button and he never really got his TP interrupted. But it wasn't him shot calling that TP. It would have been Mata and Dandy shot calling that TP.
There's a very small amount of window where you can see individual player when it comes to TP, because either they are not responding to the call or the call is not occurring, which is why it's not happening. So teleport. Complain about players versus whether it's the player or it's the team. The only way you can tell a player is bad at teleport is the positioning they use to the teleport. If they're teleporting in an area that's clearly able to be prevented, that is a dumb fucking play. Even if the call is amazing, you have to relocate, or you need to prepare for the for the play by moving away when your team's going to position for it. But if someone makes a great call and the player teleports away, regardless of position, and it's in, you can't really chalk it up to the player or the team. It's kind of a bit of both. And then if the team doesn't make a good call or the player doesn't teleport incorrect, like teleports really late, you have to chalk it up to both again. Is it the player not realizing it, or is it the team just not like calling it out, like they're just silently fighting, having it as skirmish?
There's only one kind of TP it's really from the player that you can tell is when he's TPing away from a dangerous position. That's the only way a player uses TP well, that you know for a fact it's a player's thought process about it. Mostly
is where the TP, because if they try to TP and it gets canceled by like Malfault and they're like, I have nothing to cancel your ultimate, and they ult away, or they TP away, it's like, well, you are fucking terrible.
Gnar is also like one of the champions that really showed who actually are good with TPs, because you have to actually fully prepare to make sure your Gnar bars are like 95 to 99%. I don't know. Like
that is more preparation.
Yeah, that's like more preparation. You have to be in a good position, and you have to make sure that you do not get over. So that, you know, the players who can do that well, those are the good TP players. Not just because they know where to TP. That's mostly team calling, but they actually know how to use the spell very effectively.
The way I'd hope teams. What?
Shout out to Smeb.
For sure.
The way I would hope that TPs work for teams is that they like go with guys. We're looking at like either. If it's a proactive, like if it's the team trying to make the advantage, calling out whatever is ganking or whatever they're trying to do, and then the top laner begins to like keep an eye on the minimap as he's playing, but you have to be cognitively aware of that, and because of that you may want to play a bit further back, you want to play in a bush, like you're bush hiding, like you're just coming out for last hits, so when you start the teleport, the person doesn't have the ability to instantaneously prevent it.
Yeah, but you also like can't show it too much, because if you're preparing that and then you're playing too much back there, and also the enemy team will notice it. So it's a bit.
It is that is the biggest way of telling if someone is a quality player, is simply how well they're able to TP away.
That's also how
Specifically are.
Teams got used to playing against home guard TPs because if you don't see the top lane, you know he's waiting in the fountain, and then you have to like fucking sweep everything and make sure you're grouped nicely and don't get flanked because you know he's standing in that fountain waiting just to get the right moment to TP.
That's something about NA and EU though. How prepared? I guess Fnatic is the exception because Fnatic was actually able to do that.
Fnatic's good at it.
Pretty good. How prepared are they to do this? Because we've talked about how this is a very top lane heavy game now.
And TP is still
for carries, and TP is still permanently used. It's pretty much everyone uses it mid too now. At this point, there's a lot of mid TPs going on. Are they going to actually be? Are NA teams and other EU teams not named Fnatic going to be prepared for TP flanks? I suspect.
Some EU teams might be because of how much they played against Fnatic. NA teams, no.
But are they prepared to do it themselves?
That's also a factor.
Yeah. The only hope is that like they can boot camp against some like strong Asian teams, and they're kind of preparing in that sense. That's the only real hope.
I think they may be able to prepare against it, but I don't think they ever have a chance of preparing for it. It takes significantly more team coordination than I think they will be able to do within a magical boot camp that amazingly improves them to godlike status of season 3.
Yeah.
And magically makes Rumble useful.
Yeah.
So that was my discussion on that. I believe Sam has one more thing before we wrap up.
So the big drama recently has been about so for those who didn't watch it and are only now getting the news, I'll just explain it for the sake of the narrative. Jatt posted a tweet where he says, like, he talks about Ball's solo queue performance and how Balls has played a lot more games than like Huni, for example. Huni is in was high masters, and Balls was in like Diamond 2 and fell out of Diamond 1 like a couple of times. And then this kind of responded in a backlash of sort of pros kind of saying that the solo queue rating doesn't matter and stuff like that. No, it's taken twofold in the sense of like I don't want to get into like Jatt and him as an analyst or anything like that because it's not really what interests me. The issue is that like I understand what solo queue what professional players are saying in the sense of like solo queue rating doesn't matter, but then I also think it goes both ways because when we talk about like whenever a new player gets hyped up, often one of the things that get mentioned is like they're consistently really high in challenger kind of thing, like or they dominate challenger all the time. And challenger in Korea is a different beast to like any other Korean solo queue is the hardest solo queue in the world. There's no doubt about that. Like the best Taiwanese players mostly practice on Korean solo queue, and a lot of Chinese players played a lot of fucking Korean solo queue as well. With like clear love. Like there were times where he was like famed for being like almost a free win in Korean, like a free win as in if he was on your team, you'd win the game because of how good he was in Korean solo queue. So I don't really like. It was just kind of bizarre, like to see so much drama about something that I don't really think like mattered at all.
It's the way that it got out of control. Like, the original tweet didn't do much. It's the reaction that came to it, and then the counter-reaction that Jatt wanted to defend himself, which was not even necessary.
And then he randomly apologized for his opinion.
Like it wasn't. It was not even. He wasn't even fucking. He wasn't. He wasn't bantering Balls or saying like he was horrible. He was just pointing out the fact that he, as a commentator, he found that out, and it's his job. Like it's his fucking job. He needs to also prepare. He needs to be able to tell storylines and prepare. See who is the better team. And it's just something that you notice.
We have 16 days until Worlds, and there's nothing else coming.
Exactly.
He's got to say he's gonna probably. I was assuming he's probably gonna drop a few things about different teams for the West, and this is just one thing. Hey guys, if you want to know Cloud9, this is an issue they're gonna have to look after. They just have to look after Balls a bit more. You have to play a bit more around him. I mean, teams understand. You always are going to have if you have 5 players, one of them is always your weakest link, and you have to do something to either play around them or have your team compositions play, allowing him to just kind of play a tank. And if he falls behind a little bit, it doesn't matter. He's still playing a tank. He still can do what his job is.
Or put him in a supportive role where it doesn't really matter how his impact is. Like
Balls has been
it's not a huge issue
for a very long time right now. It was just another. Yeah, a long time.
A full year, at least. I don't think he was that great at last Worlds either, really. So,
decent then still.
Yeah, he was still on a decline.
Oh yeah, he definitely started like that. I mean, it was the first split they also lost, versus TSM. So it was, but
it just felt to me like a lot of drama over
oh,
nothing.
it was just over considered drama, and then mostly the fact that Jatt felt a need to react. It's like he didn't do even anything wrong. I don't agree with Jatt a lot of times, but oh my god.
My biggest issue was with High's response of saying, I wanted to bring. I feel like the stance is people saying that they should stay off Twitter and not bitch about people criticizing. You know what? The greatest thing is, dude, is just don't give a fuck. Regardless of who said it, whether it be Jed or someone else, they're just a random fucking person.
Well, it was mainly
don't need to get.
Sneaky was the one reacting, and then that just followed up. He was the one saying.
If I was in their position, I'd be like, who the fuck cares, dude? He's not on our team.
He's not even an opponent of ours.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
That's it. If you're a professional player, like an analyst's and a caster's view is completely irrelevant to how you're gonna do.
If you're Roger Federer and you just had, what was it, like 53, 63 like unforced errors, and you had an unforced error that cost you the U.S. Open yesterday, and someone walks up and says, "Oh, you're fucking shit, dude," and that person just happens to be relevant to tennis and somehow, do you think he's gonna be like, great? He's like, no, fuck, dude, I have so many other championships. Yeah. I am so much better at the game than you. I don't give a fuck about your opinion. I'm gonna go continue living my amazing life and not. You're just gonna be like, oh, great, another fucking idiot randomly on the street. Moving on. That was today's idiot.
And my other issue as well is like, I mean, one of the greatest, like, sometimes Reddit gives you a good moment. And in that blog that High posted where he said, like, solo, like, kind of all this kind of stuff, but then it talks about, well, in the Cloud9 Challenger team tryouts, like, it says that you have to be, like, Masters or Challenger to even bother trying out. Yes. So you're saying solo queue doesn't matter how a pro player performs, but it does in the sense of when you're building it. It was really bizarre. That for me, like, it opens up a weird debate of, like, well, you say it doesn't matter if you're an established pro, but it does matter if you're a pro who's trying to kind of make it somewhere. I mean, like, when SKT did our tryouts at the start of season 5, they didn't look at any. You had to be a challenger to get a tryout. Like, you had to be a Korean challenger to get a tryout. So, like, Bulls right now, based on his Korean solo queue performance, wouldn't even get tryouts for, like, amateur teams in Korea. No. Like, and here's the other one as well. If a North American team said they were recruiting a Diamond 2 Korean top laner, like, people would lose their minds. Like, Avalon got so much shit because he was, like, mid Diamond 1 in Korea, but he was still Diamond 1.
Roll.
Yeah, but he was still Diamond 1.
Let's not start comparing Avalon to Balls. Like, that. Even that's low.
I'm not doing that's yeah. But I just there's no need to really even vocalize or give a shit.
Yeah, I get that impression. Like, you know what? If you're a pro player, you shouldn't feel the need to kind of rise to such a soft comment as well. Like, don't get me wrong. If he was like, you're like properly going off at you, then you could call him out and be like, well, you're a fucking dick. Like, who gives a shit?
Balls is the worst fucking top laner at Worlds. I'd be like, yeah, you could defend him then.
Yeah, but for just commenting on someone's solo queue rating and saying, like, well, okay, yeah, it's a fact,
I think the best thing summing it up was, man, yeah, Faker is such a shit player, man. It's almost like he was never good at solo queue before he got picked up. It's like, no, he was the best solo queue player. That's why they picked him up.
Yeah.
It's obviously relevant that solo queue has an impact. What percentage of it, or if you want to go like that, not so much, but it's still there.
Yeah.
You can't fully disregard part of the fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, mainly for the recruiting process, people tend to really focus on the solo queue. But then afterwards, it's like irrelevant. That's also not true. Like, but I don't know.
Also, it's the same thing that was brought up last year. Is that the Korean solo queue is, if you watch any of the Chinese pros who play and stream, because not a lot of Korean pros really stream, but a bunch of Chinese pros stream, and you can see they play on Korean solo queue. You can just see it looks almost like NAEU Challenger. Like they group up, they play together. It's a much lower level of like team play, but you can still see the existence of it. You can still see people that have general understanding of what they need to do when they need to do it.
Yeah. It is a bit of a different beast. So it doesn't like for me. Solo queue's not interesting, and it's fun to watch. Like I watch a lot. I watch a bit of solo queue now and again. It's fun to watch like
You're bored?
high elo Korean solo queue matches and stuff like that. But nah, it's just it felt like it's just a lot of drama over fucking nothing. Especially with all the great drama we've had this year. Like this was really fucking beating a dead horse.
Really that horse.
Yep.
Anything else you want to talk about? We've done all the groups. We've done the Korean Challenger. We covered the most recent World's drama.
Really
And we made fun of TSM.
Oh yeah, we made fun of TSM. So always got to do that.
We always do that. We should change this instead of Korea Talk to TSM banter chat or something.
Yeah. No, that's summoning insight. We don't want to become them.
Lulu. Oh no.
This is Lulu talk.
We already dismissed that name. All right.
Lulu's casual conversation about Korea.
I will say this. I will say that Korean, look, Cloud9 as a team saying that solo queue doesn't matter is ironic given the fact that who's playing their mid lane, because they recruited somebody whose only kind of anything was
Claim to
based on the
fame.
fact that he was like
only
multiple
freaking.
times rank 1 on a weaker ladder. Like that's that. I just find that a bit ironic as well. But anyway, I think that's the show done. We don't think we'll have another one until like Worlds is kicked off, because there's nothing to talk about now. Because now we enter this weird dead zone where we all just wait around with big blue balls for like what I hope should be the best LoL tournament of the year. So we'll have.
Not only that, but we're gonna wait for the one relevant world like international event that has group stages based on random seeding, which is awful. And we had, instead of being like, you have some teams that are literally already written off. Like I read off TSM, Cloud9, Pain Gaming, H2K, and Bangkok Titans.
Yeah.
From going to quarters. So you guys get 6 games internationally. Woo!
Yeah. One day we'll get that TI format with best of 5s the entire time. But
Or just have 2 groups.
Yeah.
2 giant groups.
2 groups were fun in season 3. Even though also a bit boring after a while because it was quickly
Yeah,
decided.
it's like if you got 2 groups, but then you didn't have like people getting automatically seeded into quarters, I think you'd actually have a pretty good format there, Riot. So just think about that one next year.
Well, it's just there are so many formats that exist. We've seen Dota 2 for the international has done multiple different formats that are pretty interesting. We have 2 groups that play into a double elimination. You have CS:GO that plays totally different, sometimes brackets. There are so many games that have so many different ways of doing groups, and yet fucking League of Legends is still stuck in this horse shit for the 4 years in a row.
And the other problem with the group, like the Riot's format, is you don't actually get to see lower teams play each other in like full best of 5 series. When actually, I think like a full best of 5s between like Yuri Flash Wolves and CLG or Origin and TSM would actually be really interesting to watch as a fan, and actually probably get you really big viewership. So I don't really get.
Some of the matchups here I would love to see in best of 3, best of 5 format.
Yeah, so I feel like Riot really misses a trick and really kind of kills a lot of the hype of an event. But oh well, we're not the best people to talk about formats and stuff like that. No, we'll leave that to someone more famous, I guess.
All right.
In case you missed it, I'll be pushing out a lot of content before Worlds. I did a big one where I talked about National Shield's Gauntlet Run. I'll be finishing that off. I'll write a big article about the Coup Tigers, at Worlds. I'll be pushing out another article where I'll talk about a particular Korean player who will remain mysterious. So a big one about that. No, it's not going to be British. Don't want to be anyone in the Coup Tigers. They'll get their own article. I know, right? There's another player I want to talk about at Worlds who's really underrated, I think, who plays on another Korean team. And so, and I'll be doing a big power rankings of all 16 teams at Worlds, going into groups of like 1 to 16, and explain my reasoning. So I'll be pushing out a lot of content from now up until Worlds. I'm going to push out like 4 to 5 articles. So follow me on Twitter if you want to actually see the content, because right now, fuck all people see it. So I'm like writing articles for myself. Now that's kind of fun in a sense, but I'd like it if, like, say 5 more people read it, and there are 8 viewers on this Twitch chat, so at least 4 people there could read my articles. Yeah, I think that's about
I
everything.
hopefully will have my one article that I may be the only one I ever contribute before, but I have to do stuff at work if I want to do that because some of the pick ban and scoreboards aren't good and like aren't existent for them, so I have to go back to the VODs and get the play, like get who played what and who won.
So yeah, shout out to Esports Heaven, the site that I write for. Shout out to Drexen as well, the best editor-in-chief that I could ever ask for. He puts up with my shit endlessly, because I'm a bit of a nightmare if you are an editor-in-chief in my sort of own unique way. And yeah, that's basically it. Shout out to Esports Heaven, shout out to Drexen.
Okay.
Anyone else got any more shout-outs? No, probably not.
Wow.
See you next week. Well, see ya. We'll do the next show after the two. We'll do the next show after 2 group stages that was a conclude. Because I think they do 2 groups and then they do the other 2 groups, don't they?
Yep.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
And then the quarterfinal one might be an issue because I might be going to either quarterfinal or semis. Probably quarterfinals.
We'll make that one work, even if there might be a situation where we're all together. So we'll just do one where we're all together in front of Skype and we'll just talk like a bunch of guys around the living room or something. We'll work out something. It'll be great. See you later, guys.